Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to Cartridge Fun. I hope you guys are having a fantastic February and your month is off to a great start. In this video, I wanted to share all my finds with you guys for the month of January. Now I came across a ton of stuff, way more than I typically do. I actually did a little extra game hunting with some fellow YouTubers, found some great stuff and some great deals. So I'm so excited to share all that stuff with you guys. So like I said, I did a little game hunting with some fellow YouTubers. I went out with Ryan, aka Vidja Gamer, and Andy, aka Video Game Experiment. Of course, I'm going to be putting their links to their channels down in the description below, so go check them out. Make sure you subscribe to their channels. But we went down about 3 hours to Sioux Falls, South Dakota. There was a video game store doing a 50% off sale. 50% off of all video games. So I was definitely excited to cross off some of those common NES games off my list, get them a little bit cheap. So got them for about $1.50 to $2 a game and got some really good titles. I also had a gift card from my mother-in-law to this store, so that really helped out a lot. So let's jump into these NES titles. The first one I picked up was Ninja Kid. This one's super common, but it's Days of Thunder. Castle of Dragon. This is not stadium events or anything like that. It's Athletic World. It's one I didn't have. Happy to have it in my collection. It's a pretty basic game. This is a HAL release. This is Air Fortress. And this one I've come across a couple of times, never really picked it up, but it's an SNK release. This is Alpha Mission. And this one is pretty famous. This is an LJN release. There's a ton of videos on this game, and that's Friday the 13th. This was a game that my parents never let me have as a kid, so I'm kind of excited to check it out. I know it's pretty notorious for being bad, but kind of excited to see what it's all about. And then I picked up another common title, and that is Airwolf. So that was the first stack of NES games. And then my second stack here is, I think it's Hydalide or Hidalide, something like that. You guys will correct me down in the comments down below. But happy to add that one to my collection. The label isn't in the greatest condition, and that's kind of the problem with this place, is you don't really get to see the games. Everything's on kind of a computer kiosk thing, so you're really just printing off labels, bringing them up to the counter, so you never know kind of what you're gonna get. And this one is pretty roached label as well, and that's Monopoly. This one is Rocket Ranger. This one's a little bit more popular game. This is Heavy Barrel. This is a Data East release, and it's not a bad game. It's a shooter that I think it's pretty similar to Ikari Warriors, somewhere around there. I've seen a couple videos on it. This game is Ski or Die. Codename Viper. I think this is, yep, that's a Capcom release. And then this title was a little bit more expensive, but I think I paid $4 for it, or $7, somewhere around there. And that's Gradius, or Gradius, whatever you guys say. An awesome shooter. One I've been looking for a while. The label is fairly decent, so happy to add that one to my collection. This is another SNK release, Crystallis. I've heard some really good things about that game. I'll probably be jumping into that fairly soon. And then the last NES game I got was Millen's Secret Castle. Millen's Secret Castle? I'm not really sure. Millen's Secret Castle. So that's a Hudson Soft release. It's not bad game. It's okay. I also picked up a Super Nintendo game. Now I didn't go crazy on the Super Nintendo, just because I was trying to beef up the NES collection a little bit more. But one of the games I picked up is a very popular game, one that I've played on my Super Nintendo Mini, and that is Super Metroid. So happy to add that one to my collection. I can't remember what I paid for that. It might have been like $20, somewhere around there. So fairly decent price. But we did some more gaming outside of that area. It was pretty much a 12-hour day, hitting pawn shops, thrift stores. We stopped at a pawn shop about an hour and a half away from me, and a gentleman in there had some boxed stuff, and he had an NES Boxed Advantage, something that I've been looking for a while. The price was okay. I ended up paying $30 for it, but it is complete. It has the manual and everything. Looks awesome in the shelf, and just something that I'm pretty proud to have in my collection. So that was my trip at the beginning of the month. Came across a ton of stuff, like I said. Definitely happy to add all those in my collection. Now let's move on to some Super Nintendo games. You know, you guys know my Super Nintendo collection, it really isn't that impressive, but I definitely came across a few Super Nintendo titles that I needed. One was Scooby-Doo Mystery. This is Dennis the Menace. And I think I got all of these games at one of my favorite shops downtown. It's a kind of a retro clothing store, but she also has some video games in there. I love going in there all the time. If you're ever in Fargo, go check out Revolver. Such an awesome store. This is Toy Story on the Super Nintendo. Now this is one that I've been looking for, hoping to find. It's Super Mario All-Stars. So another one that I needed in my collection. Now this is a game that I'm really not sure I've ever come across before. I've never even heard of it, but the title looked so interesting. I had to grab it. The label, not in the best condition, but this is called Power Pigs. That's with 2 G's of the Dark Age. So I really don't know much about it. I haven't played it quite yet. Hoping to very soon. You know, looking online, it's a fairly uncommon game and kind of a pricey, not extreme pricey, but I can't remember what I paid for this. $10? I don't remember. But it is a cool one to add to my collection. Now, that already beefed up my Super Nintendo collection quite a bit, but I got a few more. This is UN Squadron. Now, again, if you guys have been watching the channel, I did a new series called Take Me Back. That's a series where I get some of my friends to play those retro games that they grew up playing, see if the games still hold up, if it's still fun. And this was the first episode. So I have my buddy Luke on the show. Go check out the link down in the description below. So that's UN Squadron. Happy to add that one to my collection. This one's a pretty common Street Fighter type game. It's Killer Instinct instead of people. I think you are like beasts or animals, but kind of a common game for the Super Nintendo, but happy to add it to my collection. And then the last Super Nintendo game that I picked up was Tecmo Super Bowl 3. It's actually a fairly decent game if you are into sports games. So this is the final edition, I think. I'm not really sure how many editions there actually were, but definitely happy to add it to my collection. Now, I also picked up a game that has some pretty significant meaning in my collection. Now, you guys know I have almost a complete Mega Man set in my NES collection. I've been missing the first one I've been looking for forever. Now, the guy that sent some cereal to me, Bow to Bowser, sent me a message, said, hey, let me know what you're looking for, and I'll keep my eyes peeled. Well, on my list was the first Mega Man, and it didn't take too long for him to find it. So I was so excited to get that message. He found Mega Man 1, and the price was excellent. I paid $30 for this, and the copy is so clean. It looks so awesome. I'm so excited to have this in my collection. It completes my Mega Man NES collection. So very happy to get this one. And that just reminded me how cool the community is, especially the retro gaming community, where people are like, hey, let me know what you're looking for. I'm always out and about hitting thrift stores, pawn shops outside of my area. I think he's kind of around the Oklahoma area. So it's cool to have someone looking for games that I've been wanting in my collection for quite some time and actually coming across some. So definitely happy to add that to my collection. Bow to Bowser, thank you so much. Go check him out on Twitter. Now the last NES game that I picked up, this one's a big one. I hope you guys are just bracing yourselves, but it's Pipe Dreams. Just kidding. It's really not a fancy game, but I got it free. There's a collector that came across a few doubles that he had in his collection that I didn't have, and he said, hey, just have them. And one of them was Pipe Dreams. So definitely happy to add those to my collection. Now, before we go and sign off, I want to share with you guys a couple of other things here. I gotta reach for them. All right, so these are gonna blow you away because this is very uncommon for me to have, and they're Sega Genesis games. I came across a few games. I do have a Sega Genesis on its way at some point, but picked up a couple of games, just something to add to my collection and look for. So these are my first Sega games in my collection. Very first one is NBA Jam Tournament Edition. This is complete, has the manual and everything. Happy to add that one to my collection. I remember playing this a ton. Now I know there's an NBA Jam on the Super Nintendo as well, but cool to add a new console to my collection. And then I got this game for free. Don't know much about it. My guess is it's very similar to Tetris, and it's columns on the Sega Genesis. So I know it shocked you guys a little bit. I've been a Nintendo fanboy forever, but definitely happy to expand my collection a little bit. So those were all my finds that I came across for the month of January. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure that you click that like button. Make sure that you comment and subscribe. That's all I have for you guys. Check me out on Instagram and Twitter. I'll catch you guys later. See ya.